I would like you to like imagine that there is a person that is like doesn't know that much about the fantasy genre or sees something that is animation and thinks that animation is for kids and doesn't understand that it can be for adults and it can explain more stories. And to this type of person who is not used to this type of movies or TV shows, what will you tell them so they give it a chance to something like Invincible?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in general, it is true though. I think that, people do look at like cartoons and they kind of feel that it doesn't have the same depth as some of the stories that you would find in live action. But I think a lot of people forget that like live action sometimes is influenced by anime and cartoons in general. I mean, people talk about like The Matrix all the time being influenced by Ghost in the Shell or any of Satoshi Kon's kind of work. Um, but I mean, ultimately, I would say just kind of like if you can, just like give it a chance because sometimes, within animation, being able to make these characters feel like real people is a special feat. It's a challenge, because again, you're not seeing people act, you're hearing them act. And so it's like, being able to have meaningful stories or stories um, that have real stakes, but in cartoon form. It's just I don't know, it's just a really cool thing to see because it's a product of many different talents and many different people who like pour all of it within these uh time frames and budgets to create something that's like, really special. And like I said too, that's the fun thing about like cartoons in general is that they have so many different genres. It's not just like happy stories. You can have tragic stories within animation or stories that make you think about yourself or the world around you. People talk about like Studio Ghibli films all the time. Um, and even the kind of movies, because there are some that are kind of like, aimed, I think, towards kids, like a lot of Disney stuffs, and whatnot. I think Invisible is just a little bit, different, in the sense that it is also like superhero, which sometimes people think of as like juvenile and childish. But sometimes it's more like childlike, where it's just like there's a lot of things that you can feel when you watch these animations because it kind of brings you back to feelings that you had either when you were a kid. And again, these stories can sometimes be mature to where they're actually relevant to you as an adult today. So, I would just say that like it's always good to keep an open mind, because even within animation, even with something that you think might be childish, you can find something to relate to. There's always something that you can find that makes you think about yourself and the world around you.
That makes a lot of sense. And if anybody have any doubt about watching Invincible, I hope that was the last push that they needed.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that will be
Well,
that
like,
for me.
like I said too, like sorry to interrupt, but ultimately
No,
at the
don't
end of the
worry.
day, it's always fun to just give something a try. Watch the first episode, like because again, we all know with that first episode, it kind of is a little slow until it hits the very end, and then
Exactly.
you're like, what just happened? Click next, and then because you want to see what comes next. So.
100%. It's what I
Mhm.
always say to people I recommend Invincible is watch the first episode and stay till the end, and
Mhm.
after that you will like to keep going. But yeah,
For sure.
thank you very much for the podcast today. Think like I'm very thankful for you joining on it. It's been super interesting. Congratulations for all the work that you made on Invincible and all the work of your team. And we'll
Mhm.
be like very excited to see the new seasons coming and all